Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nurulita Febrianti and here's my material about language change in EFL context according to the Sociolinguistic course. So the first of all, we have to know what is language change. So language change refers to the process by which a language evolves over time that happen often gradual and usually permanent. So language change is happen because of many several factors, which is the first one is socio, like cultural, historical, and the last one is about the linguistic factors. And many things happen when the language change happen in one country or in one communities, like the way it changes its pronunciation, vocabulary, the usage, and also the grammar of that language. And then there are several rate of change by the language itself in the community or maybe in a country that happen gradually, or we can say that time by time, not in just one time, and then faster than gradually, or we can say as one time the changes is happen like, yeah, it's happened very, very fast. And then in gradually, it happened when the speakers or of specific language prefer the steadiness and traditions of their languages. So they're not easily get into the new language and having a steadiness and tradition of their own language or mother language. And then the second one is about faster than gradually or happen faster than not just time by time, but in just one time the language changes is happened. By in this case, it is happen when the speakers are more willing to embrace originality and unfamiliarity. So the example of this language change happen in this country or maybe in other country outside is by creating of new words, or we can say as neologism, and the discarding of old ones. So we are getting used to the new language and we are getting used to it and forgetting about the old languages or the old ones, or maybe you can say as our mother language. And then in EFL context, these languages is also happen, especially in Indonesia. And we can see in the screen, this is the example of the language change in lexical change. Or we can say that lexical change is the changes in a language's vocabulary, which concern the words in a language. So in Indonesia, we can say it as serapan, and in Indonesia tradition or in Indonesia law, when we have to take the other language to our language, there are several factors or several steps that we have to follow. The first one is adoption, and then adaptation, translation, and creation. In adoption, the way it write is same as the other languages or the second language, and but the way you say it is different. So, for the example, is in English we say it as album, but in Indonesia we say it as album. So it is different by how we say it. And then it's adaptation. It is the same about how the way we say it, but the way we write it, as we know, for the example is actor, but in Indonesia we say it as actor. And then it's translation. Translation is taking one language and making a meaning of it in our language or in a first language. For the example is surfing. In Indonesia is berselancar. So it is different about how the way you say it and the way you write it. And the last one is creation. Contact for the example is contact person. In Indonesia we say it as narahubung. So we take in one languages and we are creating it. So it's not very it's not having the exact meaning, or no, it has the same meaning, but the way you write it or the way you say it is very, very different from the second language that we took for our first language. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.